think we can get going. And then if more trickle in throughout, then I'll just let them join. So morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I know it's super busy time. Excitingly, we've got our guest Ian from Loop HR with us this morning. And I will pass the baton to you, Ian, and let you do your thing, introduce yourself, and then go from there.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Abby, and hello, very good morning to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks to SalonIQ for inviting me to do this. Actually, SalonIQ and Loop HR have some exciting news to share with you, which we will do a little bit later on. So, Abby, you can see my screen?
Absolutely. Yep, can see it.
Okie dokie. Perfect. Right. As I say, thank you very much indeed. My name is Ian Egerton, and I'm the creator of Loop HR. And I'm going to start off today with a quote. This is a quote by Christine Kane. And it simply says, sometimes when you're in a dark place that you think that you have been buried, actually you have been planted. And this came to me a while back when actually I was not in a great place myself. But it really put things into a different perspective on how I wanted to view things. And it enabled me to think, well, yeah, actually, it is an opportunity if we can think differently about stuff. And quite clearly right now, the salon industry is going through a state of great flux, and it has been for a while. But I think that this feels at the moment like we definitely need a new beginning. So if we were to say, look, the hair and beauty industry employment model, I think we can all agree, is under pressure. We have national minimum wage increases, employment costs are increasing, and we know that stock prices are increasing. And using that analogy about whether we feel buried or whether we have been planted, and this is an opportunity to think differently, I just want to take a moment to look at 5 years from now. And this isn't me making a personal forecast. These points align with the UK government's ongoing focus on labour, market fairness, public revenue needs, and social protections. So we know that there will be higher minimum wage rates. And in the forecasts that we have done, and this is about the only projection that I'm going to make, is in 5 years' time, given the stuff that's happened in the last 5 years, minimum wage will be at around £15.50 per hour. We potentially will have increased taxes one way or the other as an employer, or otherwise. There will be greater employee rights and stronger regulation for self-employment. So no matter where we look, things are going to continue to evolve and change. And I think what we need to do is to consider what can we do. And I want to very much look at this as seizing the opportunity to make positive change. We want to be proactive, and we really need, at these difficult times, to focus on what matters. And I'm very aware that as employers or as managers, we're focusing on an awful lot of stuff, and it's really quite overwhelming. And a good part of what we do at Loop HR is about how people cut through all of the noise and find what it is that's really important for them to be able to work on at the time. So I'm going to start with people. And people in the salon industry clearly are very, very important, both our clients and our employees. So the first thing that I'd like you to consider today is a people care charter. Now, before you sort of switch off, it's essentially designed to help us think calmer and be more focused about the people that we're working with. So, for example, you could say, at our salon, we believe in treating everyone with respect, kindness, and professionalism. Our commitment extends to every individual we work with, our clients, our employees, and our suppliers. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing, and if it's something that interests you, please feel free to take a screenshot. But, you know, this charter should reflect your promise to care for the people who make your salon a success and creating a culture where everyone thrives. Creating a short line or sentence about each stakeholder. I did this as an exercise, and for me personally, I found it really, really worked. In the next element, we're going to look at money. And clearly, money in the salon industry is money in, and that's very much to do with the prices that we charge. And we have money out, a great proportion of which is attributed to our cost for staff, or indeed our workforce, depending on your employment model. And so again, it was about thinking, how could we address this and how could we understand what it was that we were committed to doing? So we created a value and fairness charter. Again, I'm not going to read the whole thing, just the opening line. So something like, you could consider our salon, we believe in balancing exceptional value for our guests with fairness and respect for the professionals and partners who contribute to our success. This commitment guides our approach to pricing, pay, and product sourcing. So clearly, what we're trying to do here is work more clearly with our stakeholders, and something like this may or may not, depending on you, work for you and how you feel about mapping out such things. However you do, there is a primary focus that we need to consider. I think first and foremost, the top two: prices, and that would be making sure that your services are for profit, and salary costs. And we're going to look at salary costs in a moment, and using your pay structure, which is fit for today's business. I'm going to challenge some of the stereotypical stuff that the industry does and explain to you why I would do that. Then we need to look at business growth, because it's so easy when we get caught up and we do feel buried in all the quagmire that to find growth. I believe that we need to focus on rewarding the right behaviors for our team. As we all know, in the salon industry, staff retention is something that is essential. So working clearly with your team to communicate clearly to them and share levels of accountability with them. This isn't or shouldn't be a one-person battle. And you want to build value into your business for everybody, all the stakeholders, and ultimately creating the culture that you want for your business. So we said there about salary costs. I'm certainly not going to address pricing in this event today, but salary costs is something that I would like you to consider. So we're going to start with a comparison of two employees. And employee A is 90% booked. They have 9% new client retention. They have pretty much zero client referrals and zero positive Google reviews. They're mildly toxic and they cost the business 40%. And then in our second employee, we have somebody who is 60% booked. They have 60% new client retention. They have approximately 5 client referrals a month, an average of 6 positive Google reviews a month. They're a positive team player, and they also cost 40%. And when I'm talking about costs, I then also want to consider the greatest value that a team member brings. So what I'm encouraging and would encourage anybody to do is to look at the bigger picture. Sometimes with team members, they may bring in a whole load of money, and sometimes they bring a whole load of challenges. So when we're considering cost of salary, maybe we can consider the overall value that somebody brings to the business. I'm going to move on to the different salary structures that are used, and we're going to start with the very basic salon commission structures, something that we've had in the industry for many, many years. And I'm certainly not going to sit here and lambast these, because I know that many salon owners, particularly in hair, will use a commission structure, one of these sort of commission structures. Essentially, what they do is I'll explain briefly the three. So with base pay plus commission, we have a whichever is higher or whichever is greater, and we have a low level commission where a team member would get a base pay and then maybe a 3 or 5% of all sales as a form of commission. So different models, and they all focus on the same thing. Typically, they focus on a percentage share to the employee. And my bugbear with this is the language that's used. And I work with many salon owners, and sometimes, not sometimes, every time. It's the core thing of using Loop is around pay structures and ensuring that the value that team members bring. So we have something which I will show you later about different salary structures, but also a salary packages that we build. And we're trying to, again, address this thing where the different value people can bring. So if I'm working with somebody and they share their contracts of employment with me, and just to explain their salary structure, it may well read something like you get there. So that the explanation of a pay structure is minimum pay, minimum wage, and 33% or any other percentage. And then there's a different commission level, which is higher, and you will get this when you've got this percentage of color income, and you'll get this when you've got this percentage of retail against your service sales. And to be perfectly honest, very often the salon owner struggles to explain it clearly to me, which makes it super difficult for team members, particularly new ones. So where does a classic salon commission structure work? It works with mature teams that have been around in your business for a while, and they have a good client base. I think the struggle that we have, and certainly that we see in the industry now, is younger team members and those mid-level team members. Minimum wage prices are increasing, and we're struggling to find that tipping point between being affordable and valuable, and an incentive that is going to drive somebody to achieve their goals. And then, of course, when they do achieve their goals, we're actually giving away higher percentages of revenue at each level that goes out. So let's look at something a little bit different. A salon pay structure that we develop within Loop HR is the performance pay. And very much what we focus on is rewarding the elements and behaviors that are good for the business. And we also want a different focus. We don't want to focus on a percentage of income, and we don't want to make it complicated. So what we do is we have a base pay, and then we have performance bonuses. And we have a personal bonus, something that we call a performance bonus, and then super bonus. And what we do is we start with a minimum target threshold. This is a change in language, and essentially what this means is clearly it's the minimum amount of money that needs to be achieved before we can afford to pay anything. But we refer to it as a minimum target threshold. And then we have a higher level target, which we call our optimum target. And what we want to do is to incentivize our team to achieve their minimum target threshold, because we know once that's achieved that the company can afford to reward their team member, because within Loop, we can make all our financial forecasting. So let's use an example that we're going to pay a £200 bonus when somebody achieves their minimum target threshold. And now that's pretty much a guaranteed amount of money, unless somebody's on holiday and it's proportionately reduced. But essentially, this bonus is something that a team member is focused on. It's a reward. They can see the value, and it doesn't need to be 200 either. It's just an example. But and to be perfectly clear, all of these are costed out precisely within our software. So then we have our performance bonus. Performance bonus is essentially a low-level commission, but we refer to it as a performance bonus because they continue to get this low level income, anything above the minimum target threshold. And moving on to the optimum target. What is the optimum target? The optimum target is the amount of money that a team member should be able to bring in an hour. So if they sold every hour at their optimum hourly rate, this is how much they would bring in. And if they achieve that goal, they will get another £200. When we first work with salons, we work very carefully with the salon owner and the managers to ensure that their pay structure reflects their business. And I do understand that this may not be for everybody. But one of my greatest joys many, many years ago was working with, actually, they're a SalonIQ client, and they were very, very adamant, no, we want to do commission. And after about 6 months of working with us, they came and said, actually, with new team members, can we use this performance pay? I was like, absolutely. And now every single team member that comes into their business is going to be on the performance pay structure. So they've seen the advantage of driving the sales through this pay structure rather than a commission structure. So that, remember, keep in mind the minimum target threshold and the optimum target. And that optimum target, as I say, is the optimum hourly income. So instead of taking a multiple of somebody's salary, which is rather arbitrary, to set a target, we actually use the price that somebody charges per hour. And this makes more sense to the team member, and we'll come to that in a moment. I wanted to touch base around pay increases, because obviously this is quite pertinent coming up in April. And very quickly, we're going to take a perspective from the employer and the perspective from the employee. As an employer myself, I would expect that, paying increases, we're looking for greater staff retention and loyalty, motivation, and productivity. Clearly, these things aren't guaranteed, but this is our perspective. This is what we're looking for. You could also attract greater talent and build a greater reputation as a great employer who pays well, depending on the sort of pay structure that you offer. The negatives, of course, could be increased cost, managing staff expectations, and inequality. And I think we're all aware that there can be quite a broad spectrum of pay structures and costs within an individual salon, and inequality, I think, is something that can cause some issues. But let's look how that would play out for an employee's perspective. And again, I feel this is important when we're working to build a pay structure. How is your team going to react and respond? So we want people to feel recognition and valued. They should feel maybe more financially secure, have greater motivation. And potentially for some people, this is about status. Different people respond differently, but these should be the positives. Again, the negatives, very similar, unmet expectations or resentment, quite simply because they're not getting what it is that they feel. So what we need to do very, very clearly, and I touched on it a moment ago, is a way that we communicate our pay structures. So the objective would be to communicate pay increases clearly and effectively so that we can ensure clarity, fairness, and you want to align stuff with your business goal. And all of this has to basically maintaining employee morale and trust. So it's the core structure that you use is one element. And once you've figured that out, I think then we're going to look at the when. When is the ideal time to do a pay increase? So, and again, people have their own ideas, so I'm just going to throw it out there. There are 3 very good reasons why you should do this. at a consistent time. Ideally, you would have a pay increase in line with minimum wage. So people who are on minimum wage would obviously get an increase then, but generally it should be time to review everybody's salaries. Potentially, this would be when you would review your pricing, because clients would expect, in line with minimum wage, potentially a price increase. And then the other good thing about April is that it is spring, and hopefully the weather starts to get warmer, and sales statistically in the industry increase from April through to summer as a positive upswing. So again, if you're going to give somebody a pay increase, you need to do that at a time that takings are going to increase. I'm going to move on to the how you decide somebody should get their pay increase. First of all, you're going to review somebody's performance. You're going to agree the pay rate. You're going to reset targets and KPIs. And so, the KPIs are the things that potentially help people achieve their targets. And if you're interested in understanding, or I'll rephrase that, if you're interested in learning more about the difference between a goal, a target, a KPI, and a benchmark, I think Sam shared an article that I'd written recently, but you'll find it in my blogs on Loop HR website. And it's been very well received and described as very insightful. Okay, and finally, it's communicating with your employee. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk you through how we would help you do a pay increase review. And we're going to start with a performance review. The reports that you're about to see, there's 3 screenshots, and they're essentially all coming from our insights report. Most of this information you will also find in SalonIQ, or you can calculate it yourselves, but we pull it together for you. You'll see that it says, if I just move my mouse to one side here, you'll see that it says period 1 to 12. So we've selected a period for a whole year. And you can see that the minimum target threshold, that language again, for the year was 77,952. And the optimum target for the year was 92,378. These calculations are very, very precise, based on the employee's work hours through the year, through the pay rate, the targets that we've set. We can see from this that they have just about achieved their minimum target threshold across the year. As we move forward further into insights, we pull different information, their average service value over that same period, their income per hour, the clients that they're seeing per hour, and how they're faring over the whole year against their optimum income per hour. And again, further down the report, we're going to see the financial value that the team member brings. We know that there are different values, but the financial value and the percentage of revenue and the percentage of clients they see across the whole team. And also an absence impact summary. This is something that is useful if you have somebody who is often out sick or often late for work. And any given period of time, we are able within Loop to forecast any potential losses to your business. So this gives you an oversight of the financial value. Now we're going to take a look at the key performance indicators. Again, these are things that you would largely be able to get from SalonIQ. So your rebooking rates, client retention and stuff. None of this is anything new, but what we do with it is slightly different. We group together these KPIs into groups in a sense that the team member can understand why this works. So for example, if we were to say client care as one group and then find any KPIs that you felt represented client care for you. And here's 3 examples: rebooking rates, client retention, and new client retention. This is all information you find in your SalonIQ. We then have something called Accelerate. And this is about the KPIs that are going to help the team member grow more quickly. So client referrals, social media content, 4 and 5-star Google reviews. Again, this is something that you can adapt quite easily within your business. And once you've established somebody's overall value in what these are really soft skills, then you have a greater understanding of the value somebody brings. There is another element that we need to look at. In Loop HR, we process payroll for our users. Well, we don't. Loop does it for you. And here you can see in this screenshot a salary payments for the whole year. You can see the total salary against the total income, including this we've toggled on retail sales. And you're seeing the cost that the team member was to your business. And you can see all the breakdowns, the commissions, the personal bonuses, retail commissions, the blah, blah, blah. Everything is all brought in to play right there. So again, you can establish, well, if this person was costing us this, then we need to do a forecast of anything new that we're thinking of doing. So again, within Loop HR, what we do, I said before about building salary packages. We have a list of packages that we build with you to help you have greater clarity on what you're going to offer somebody. And right now, I'm going to show you a short video clip of what that salary structure would look like within Loop HR. So this is, if you've not seen it before, this is Loop HR software. And we're in an employee profile, and we're going to jump into the remuneration section. Here you can see the salary package. You can see the current hourly rate. You see their pay and their benefits for the whole year, any different hourly rates for admin, antenatal training, different things, their salary structure, bonuses, their commission for retail. We're going to edit the structure. This is how easy it is to increase somebody's salary. You simply click in the new hourly rate. It shows you the value for the year, the month, the week, well, depending on your pay cycles. We're not changing the pay structure itself, but right here, this is the minimum target threshold and the optimum target threshold. That £62 is the hourly rate that I spoke of before. And you can see that the system has now forecast sales at a percentage of time sold. So if they sell 80% at 80%, and that is their minimum target threshold, and we're happy with that, we pop that into our commission structures. At 90%, and if you're using commission, then maybe you have a higher level. And again, your optimum target threshold would be the higher rate. So that's how easy it is to update your targets and your minimum wage. In this case, we have a bonus thrown in as well. We forecast our salary costs, and this is the retail commission element. And literally, that is how easy it would be to update your pay rates for your team and establish your targets. And we deliberately showed you commission because that is probably something you're more familiar with than the performance-based pay structure. But to be perfectly honest, it's all really, really simple in Loop. Once you have created your pay offer within Loop, and you're happy with your financial forecasts, and you believe that this is going to bring value to your team, then you need to find a way to communicate this with your team member. I have done this in the past where people have got a pay increase, and I really didn't make a great deal of fuss about it. I just gave them a pay increase. I hadn't really explained to them what it meant or what it could mean to them. So here you go. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to very quickly walk you through some screenshots of the tools that we would use in Loop to help your team member, because Loop HR is not only for the salon owner and for the managers, it's very much about engaging with your team. So here is, we're using the performance pay dashboard. We can see their minimum target threshold, their optimum target, and we want to explain to them how to achieve their targets and what their rewards are going to be. By explaining how they can achieve their goals, it makes it easier for them to do, rather than just saying, this is your target. We may also use this as an opportunity to reaffirm somebody's job role and their goals. Again, within Loop HR, within the employee dashboard, they're able to see their job description, their skills and expectations that we have, any goals that are set for the team member as a reminder for them. Of course, you may want to add some skill and training, personal development stuff for the team member. You can send a training opportunity, or via Loop, the team member could actually request training also. If the team member accepts your training opportunity, they will very clearly see the objectives of the training. They will also accept your terms and conditions should you choose to include that as an option, and therefore that you know when they go and do their training and they return that they should respect those terms and conditions. Also, you can get feedback on somebody's training. Likewise, talking of feedback, performance reviews. Within Loop, you can create your performance reviews on any amount of time period that you want. You can do short reviews, longer reviews, and the employee gets, once you begin the review process, you can decide what information you want to share. And in this example, you'll see that they can see their financial benchmarks, their personal goals, and then there's a series of questions, and the team member does their self-assessment on their phone in preparation for your meeting, assuming it's an in-person meeting. Now, we're talking about engaging with team members, other things and tools that we have within Loop. So we have a feature called announcements. Look at this as a digital notice board where you would share information. It is not a chat function. It is designed to ensure that you can connect with individual team members or small groups. So if you wanted to have something just for front of house or just for managers, then you can invite either the whole team or just smaller groups. And then we've got just a couple more slides on stuff that is designed to really, really help you. And there's a clue in here as to what is happening with Loop HR and SalonIQ. This is our self-managed sickness function within Loop. If a team member is sick at the moment, typically what they have to do is call the salon, and somebody needs to record all of the details, and they need to go to the booking system, and they need to block out the column, and then they need to call the clients, and all of those things. So what happens in Loop is notification of employee sickness goes to the manager. The data feeds into Loop HR and SalonIQ calendars without anybody doing anything. It's all automated. The information sits on the employee sickness file, data feeds through to Loop HR payroll, and you can personalize a return to work form for the team member. Essentially, if a team member is off sick and they make a sick notification, you do not need to do anything. Loop will do everything for you. Then the next thing which we find people struggle with is holidays, and whether you do that in days or hours. It's very easy to do within Loop. The employee makes a leave request, and then the managers are alerted, the employee's alerted if there's an overlap with other people on holiday. Requests are sent to the manager approves or declines. And approved lead feeds through to SalonIQ calendar, making it super easy for you to be able to block out somebody's holidays all from one place. So literally by the manager approving leave, this is automated and done for you. Holiday pay is auto-calculated for you within Loop HR payroll. And again, there are personalized settings where you can block holiday availability. All of this is just one of the many functions that happen within Loop to help you manage your team most efficiently. We're super excited today to announce Loop HR and SalonIQ integration. It really is, for me, it is a super day. Both teams have been working really hard to make this happen. And as I said, the integration means that some things are really seamless. Pretty much everything that you need to do, certainly in conjunction with Loop and SalonIQ. So I'm going to open for questions in a moment. I'm just going to have a quick summary. So we've had a focus on money in and money out, prices and pay structure. I've recommended maybe establishing policies to help clarify and communicate your vision. They're certainly around people care charter, your value and fairness charter. Decide when and how your pay increases happen, and set the criteria to be met and measure key insights. Then consider targets and KPIs carefully. And Kiss, although the last name of my business partner, as in Martin Kiss is his name, it's actually means keep it super simple. So use language such as minimum target threshold, or maybe optimum target. Group KPIs into titles that reflect the outcome that you're looking to achieve. It would maybe make more sense to the team member. And consider the elements that you reward. Maybe use bonuses over a percentage of money. Forecast accurate financial sales targets, which Loop will do automatically for you, and do that for each team member for each pay period. And again, that is all automatic. Communicate clearly with your team members. Use Loop HR and SalonIQ to take your business to the next level. So there we go. That's it from me from a presentation point of view. Abby, how was that? And do you have any questions you'd like to ask me?
Amazing. Super excited for the integration to come on board. I think it will make things so seamless for the salons. So that's super exciting. And great points that you went over. I love the fact that you're looking at commissions and pay structures in a different way, because I think from my experience, a lot of salons are stuck in the kind of more old-fashioned ways of looking at commission structures. So putting a new spin on it is yeah, is great. So thank you so much, Ian. That was very insightful.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much indeed. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Got Barbara as well saying she's very excited
Great.
for this as well, which is great. Amazing.
Good. Thank you, Barbara.
Don't think we've got any other questions come through.
Well, if anybody does have any questions, they're very welcome to reach out, and all the usual. There's a chat function on our website, and obviously, if they go and want to reach out via yourself, I can tell you that what will happen after today's call, there will be an email going out later on with the video, but also there's a booking link if anybody would like to talk to me and inquire more. I have a discovery call and see how Loop HR could work for them within their business. The link will be shared. Jenny will share it later with everybody. And you're very welcome to book a call, and I will very happily answer any questions and show you how Loop HR could work in your business.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ian. And yeah, as you said, this is all recorded, so we'll have this sent out as soon as it's ready. And yeah, looking forward to this integration. It's going to be great.
Amazing. Me too. We're super excited. Thank you all very much indeed. Thank you,
Thanks
guys.
so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Take
Bye.
care.